Hello everyone, I'm Seth Chandler with Coin, based out of San Francisco. And first of all, thank you Brett for having me, I appreciate this. And I'm looking out throughout the crowd, I see a lot of familiar faces. And the first thing you notice is, wow, this is big, this is much bigger than last year. I think Heather mentioned it was about 175 people last year. This year looks like around 250. And I think that just contributes to the strength of our hobby and how much it's grown. And it also shows the strength of what PCGS has been doing to bring more collectors apart and things like this, luncheons, bring other collectors together and start talking. So I'm going to have fun here. I'm just going to tell stories. I'm not going to talk about PCGS registry points or how great Coin is. I'm going to tell you a little about myself and my observations, what I've seen in my hobby the last several years. So the first question I think is, how did I get here? I started collecting coins like many of you when I was really young, 4 years old. I started collecting bicentennial quarters out of change. And then by the time I was about 10, things started to get really serious. I learned that I could actually work and make money. And obviously, with that money, I went out and bought coins, mostly through advertising in the coin world. And I would go to my local coin shop, Edgewood Coin Company, in Jacksonville, Florida, where I grew up, probably about once a week. It was a long trek, about a mile. I would ride my skateboard, ride my bike. But, I feel like I kind of grew up in the 50s, going to the coin shop, once a week, on your skateboard or your bike. But the reason why I bring up this coin shop is it was a very important place for me. I started there, working there when I was about 13, 14 years old. And it was actually quite difficult to get a job there. Because the first couple of years, the owner, Henry Robinson, was very difficult just to see. He was always busy, he was always on the phone, he was always in the vault, so I never really could interact with him. And after a couple of years of doing that, trying to get a job there, always asking the employees, I had another, I would say, major important event in my numismatic life. I actually came to the fun show. It was here in 1985. My father and we drove down. And when you're a little kid and you're buying week cents out of the week cent bucket and barber halves out of the barber half bucket, and you come to a show like this and you meet all the larger dealers, you meet all the other collectors, you see Pan Pac 50s for the first time, you see Estelle. It really motivates you as a collector to see what else is out there. Like, I want to work hard and try to acquire these type of coins. So it was really, at 13, 14 years old, just coming to a coin show like this was really life-changing for me. And I remember I went to a young numismatics event at the show where Scott Travers and Florence Shook was hosting, and I answered a few questions correctly at a young age. And they said, you know what, you should try to apply for the A&A Summer Seminar Scholarship in Colorado. I did that. A couple months later, I got this package in the mail, got an airplane ticket, and I was off to Colorado when I was 14 years old. I grew up in a trailer park in Jacksonville, Florida, never been on an airplane, never seen mountains, never seen snow, so this was quite an experience. And I think it was about 25 or 26 of us at the time. And this is what I think is the most important thing about the hobby. It's more than just the coins, it's about the people. And even out of those 25 other people that I met, I would say 4 or 5 I'm still very good friends with today. One of them, I was the best man in his wedding about 10 years ago. Jim Stouch's site kind of runs half of Heritage. I mean, it's amazing the people and the lifelong connections that you make. So anyway, I took the US coin grading course, passed it after a week, and I was like, God, this is my chance. I could probably get hired at Edgewood. Mr. Robinson will notice me now. I know how to grade. I took a week-long course. So, I'm 14 years old. I remember it was a hot summer day. It was 100 degrees. I walked like 45 minutes to get there. Walked in the door. Hey, can I get a job now? I have this certificate. I'm a graduate of the advanced grading course. And they're like, okay, great. You don't want a lot more here than you will in a week, but let's see what you can do. And I'll never forget this image of Mr. Robinson. He slowly went down like this. And I was a little freaked out what he was doing. And he grabbed a half a bag of Morgans and just threw it right on the table. And he grabbed a bunch of coins and said, grade them. And I was shocked, but I came to realize that he came up in the 1960s when the Federal Reserve was releasing all the silver dollar hoards. So he just had like half bags of Morgans laying everywhere. So pretty easy for me to do. You just rank from best and worst. And he goes, okay, you did a good job, you're hired. And right away, and this is probably the most important, influential person in my life at a young age. He was my original mentor. He gave me a lot of responsibility. He believed in me. And when you're 14 years old and you grew up in a family, you have minimal means, and here's somebody with this big fancy coin shop and all this money running around, and he would bring me in with client meetings when I was 14, and he would say, Seth, come here, sit down. I was like, okay. And he'd grade these coins. I would grade the coins. Well, what do you think they're worth? And I was being as professional as I could for 14 years old, but told the truth. And looking back, I realized he was putting me in the position so I could learn. I could learn how to be a good person, learn how to be a better man. So that was always exciting. You know, you realize that a coin shop is, in many cases, a sacred thing. It really is, because it's a location of the community. At Edgewood Coin Company, I remember many times it was 50 to 100 people would come in every day. First you talk about football, then you talk about family. It always circled back with coins. And so, really young, I learned that it's a lot more than coins. It's about the people. It really is about the people. You know, you look to your left and look to your right. You're going to remember these people for a long time. It's about the people and the friendships that you build. So fast forward, I think I had the greatest high school job of all time. You know, I worked there from about 14 to 18, and I had a blast. You know, but life took its way, and I ended up, you know, going in other areas of life, worked in finance, lived in New York for 10 years, but always a collector, always going to the A&A show. And it always affected me. I always, you know, my passion was always there, and you're always involved. I mean, in this room is some of the most crack addict type collectors around who are really addicted to coins, and they go after it. So I always kind of had that feeling too as well. But another kind of life-changing event, or numismatic life-changing event, happened to me about 5 years ago. I would go to my local coin shop, Winter Coin in San Francisco, and the owner brought up one day. He says, "Hey Seth, you know, I started this place in 1960. I just can't do it anymore. You know, he's 83 years old. He's been doing it for something like 54 years, and he was ready to retire. You know, I love coin shops, and it's just like a thing. I love going into coin shops, and you speak to people who've been at coin shops for 35 years, but to be in one for over 50 years every day of your life, that's pretty phenomenal." So he brought up that a lot of people tried to buy the shop, but he didn't want to sell it to him, but he didn't like it. So he said, "Seth, I like you, please buy it, else I'm going to close it." Now, you know, my knee-jerk reaction was like, you know, I got other things going on, I got projects and stuff, I have kids, I can't do this. But right away I knew, no doubt, that I could not let a coin shop go out of business that's been in my town since 1960, if I could do something about it. So instantly, I hired 2 people, and I took over Winter Coin in January of 2016. And it's been a blast. It's moved very, very fast, it's grown a lot, and I've had fun every day. But again, it gets back to my passion of collecting coins, being involved with coins, starting to take place a little bit more every day in my life. So I would say another big opportunity came up a couple years ago. I realized I needed to expand, we needed more office space. The shop is very small, it's like 600 square feet. Half of it's the showroom, the other half is the office. And I said, I really need to get more space here. So my wife and I were having breakfast on Lombard Street in San Francisco, and I looked at an old IHOP, and it had a for lease sign. And my wife's from the neighborhood, and I'm like, hasn't that been there since the 1960s? He's like, yeah, it's too bad, and it went out of business. And I'm like, wouldn't it be a great place for a coin shop? And she's like, yeah. I mean, they probably want like an insane amount of money for it. So I called, and of course they wanted an insane amount of money for it, but I said, you know, this is my passion, this is my dream, you know, because I had so much fun. Some of my best memories in life were working in that little coin shop in Jacksonville, Florida. And here's a chance as an adult to relive that, to save an old school coin shop that's been around forever. So fast forward, we're going to actually open our new coin shop. I consider it America's greatest coin shop. It's going to open January 30th after a 1-year gut renovation of 7,500 square feet. Thank you. You can't let these things go out of business. So here we're the business, it's, you know, we're progressing, we're growing, it's been around since 1960, and I spent a long time, we spent over a year building this thing out, trying to make it perfect. One of my favorite things about it is we have what's called the Witter Museum. It incorporates a lot of the history of the gold rush in San Francisco, along with the city's 3 months. It's the only city with 3 months. And you know, anybody in San Francisco, they really need to realize that San Francisco is entirely founded on the gold rush. So some of our exhibits will be gold rush memorabilia, large gold nuggets, scales. So, you know, it's open to the public. So I think everybody's going to have a good experience when they come in. And that's what I want to happen. So that's Winter Coin from A to Z. So it's been a fascinating ride. I'm really looking forward. A lot of work. But you know, it's going to do very well. We're in a location where there's 85,000 cars drive by. Probably the biggest luxury is we have free on-site parking, which in San Francisco is a really, really big deal. And we have to build a fence around it to keep, you know, those people out that somehow are living on the streets and the sidewalk. But you know, it's a very good looking coin store. So I also wanted just to add a little bit, changing gears here, my perspective of the hobby. I've been a collector for a long time, since I was young. Worked in a coin shop for 5 years, and now I've had Witter for 4 years. I go to all the major shows, and I will tell you this, the hobby is alive and well. It really is. It is strong. I mean, look at this room. There's 50% larger participants here than last year. And I think that leads into a really good job that PCGS is doing, especially in the last year. I don't want to spoil the good things that are happening, but there's a lot of great things that you guys have been unveiling, especially over the last year, and that they continue to do so. But it just stresses the fact that PCGS has always been an innovator, and they've really protected the collector. I think it was a great thing what they've done last year, introducing the PL designation. I think it's very important that they brought in the CAC and the PCGS set registry. It just shows that they're open-minded to different kinds of collecting, because that's what collecting is all about. There's no one way to build a collection. There's no one way to buy coins. And I think PCGS is recognizing that by really opening up their platform. It's a great thing. And I can remember, back at Edgewood in 1986, when grading first came out. It was very, very hard. Today it's normal, right? When you see a coin that's uncertified, you're a little like, hey, what's going on here? But back then it was a big deal. I remember a client brought in a PCGS graded MS-63 Morgan dollar. And we all kind of stood around it. It was like looking at an alien. Somebody held it up and you're looking at it. It's in the holder. It looks all official with the dot printing. It rattles. And of course the first comment was, that's not a 63. They don't know what they're doing. It's overgraded, just like how it is today. But that'll never go away. That'll never go away. It's been very important. I would say the single contributing factor to me going all in from a business perspective into this new endeavor, past being my passion, was that I have 3 kids. They're 18 and 16 and 6. And no, they're not into coins. The 6-year-old kindness, she's sitting at her little desk, she's got a little buying operation at the shop. She likes going through unicorns and rainbows, but she's coming along. But having 3 kids, they go to 3 different schools, and I'm a friendly guy, I talk to all the parents, and every now and then it comes up, hey, what do you do for a living? I'm like, I have a little coin shop downtown. 50% at least of all the faces light up and they tell their story. Oh, I collect coins. Oh, my grandfather collected coins. Oh, when I was a kid, I have this, I have that, I collect this. And I was just like, Jesus, there's a lot of coin collectors out there. There's a lot more than what you think. I think coin collecting is so much bigger than what's in this room here. I mean, right here in this room is the top 1%. It's the most competitive collectors around. But I will tell you, it's a lot bigger than this. And, one thing that I've seen is, we really kind of position our shop for younger collectors. I don't care who I'm dealing with, what big deal I'm working on. A kid comes in, I go out there and help them. I show them some of the big coins we have because, that's what happened to me when I was young. I think that's really critical. And there's a lot of kids coming in. There's a lot of kids coming in the shop. In fact, we probably had about 4 or 5 different interns over the summer. In fact, one of them is here right now. Ben, why don't you stand up, buddy? That is Ben Brody. He is from Pennsylvania, and he gave me a call about a year ago, and he said, Seth, I want to intern. I was like, absolutely. Let's give the kid a shot. So Ben was actually a member of the family. He lived with us for about a month and a half, right, Ben? And he has an honorary title. He's Vice President of the Interns at Witter Coin. Yeah. And, back when I was a kid, I came up with the Q. David Bowers effect. He wrote every other book. With the internet and social media, let me tell you, these kids that are 12, 13, 14 years old are sharp, way sharper. And I think, again, this contributes to what I think is the strength of the hobby, in addition to everyone having some form of coins. But I just want to make it very loud and clear, the hobby is very, very strong, and there's many, many components to it. So you could always believe in that. So the next thing I just want to touch on is kind of 2 things that I think you should at least consider. And that's sharing your coins. Every coin has a story. When I came up in the 1980s, exhibits were a really, really big deal. I still have treasured memories of really old school collectors like John J. Pittman displaying items that you don't see these days that are worth millions of dollars today that back then were worth something, and explaining the story of how he acquired it, the rarity, how he bought it. To a 14, 15-year-old kid, that means a lot. And there's a lot more behind it than just the coin and the story. And so I would highly encourage anyone here who has a collection of anything, exhibit it. show it to your kids, show it to your family, show it to your local coin shop, or coin club, whatever it takes. But, you always have to be open-minded. I think a perfect example was Stuart. Stuart, there you are. So Stuart came up to the table yesterday, and he's like, hey, you want to go look at my cents? I'm like, sure, absolutely. And as we're walking, he's like, so I know you're not really into copper. I'm like, yeah, but how could I not want to stare at 1877 finest known Indian head cent? And that's the point. Like, it may not be something that I specialize in, but I get excited by his passion. So we go there, we walk through some of his coins, and I'm blown away. Congratulations, this is phenomenal coins there. But where it really gets interesting is, hey, Stuart, how did you acquire this? And the stories come out. And well, there was this widow, and the lawyer called me, and they were all raw in a box. It's like a treasure hunt. I tell my wife every day I like Indiana Jones. That's what I feel like. Because you never know what's going to happen with coins. And so thank you for that story. But that's what I like to see is the passion and the stories behind the coins. So I would encourage everyone here to do whatever you can to exhibit your collection. I would say that the second big thing is the mentorships. Mr. Robinson was very important in my life. He taught me through coins how to be a better person. And it's very difficult to connect with the youngins these days. You have social media, you see the attention span, it's very limited. But I've given talks to schools with my kids. Oh, I'm actually cool in front of my kids because all their friends are like, oh wow, that's a $20 gold coin. They get to hold it, they get to hold a gold nugget. They get to see a bison note, a $1,000 bill. They love it. So if you have that, share that experience. Take a young kid under the wing, because it really helped me a lot. So I would highly encourage everyone just to use coins to connect with people and be a mentor to somebody, whether it's another collector or a younger person. It's very, very important because it makes a big impact. It did on me. So, with those thoughts in mind, and again, they're just my thoughts and my perspectives on things. I have a really nice set of coins over there. It's not bad. It's actually the #1 PCGS set registry of proof seated dollars. Took a really long time to put together. It's from 1858 to 1873. And there's also, aligned with my theme to be open-minded to what other collectors are doing, there's an 1893 Great Britain proof set there with the gold. I'm not that into foreign coins, but I'm into that foreign coins, all right? So, you look at other things, you see what's out there. So it's a phenomenal collection, and just reiterates, get up and exhibit. Every major show always have one case for something, just for sharing and showing and telling. So thank you for having me here. I hope maybe I connected with somebody or just kind of threw some additional thoughts or insights on the hobby. So I appreciate it.